I'd love gyms to turn into churches. The best parts of church you can steal from to be able to create great community where everyone profits. Relationships are rich, people retention stays, and again, word of mouth is just evangelism. I work with TikTok this year directly, and from the horse's mouth, if you want to grow on that platform, it's at least 3 posts a week, minimum. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts.
Yeah. What would you say to someone that says they don't have time to make content?
I think they're foolish.
Matty,
Yo.
welcome to the podcast, mate.
Yeah, that's good to see
Join
you.
my look, it's on the big screen. Join mine unfiltered.
Yeah, this looks hot. It's hot. Maybe as hot as you.
Stop it.
It reflects.
Team, today I have with me a very special guest. His name is Matt Purcell. Matt Purcell?
Matthew, if I'm massively in trouble.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go Matthew then. Matthew Purcell. Now, Matty, not only is he a brother from another mother, he is my personal branding coach, and we can talk about that. We can talk about some of the shit that we've been doing. But, mate, you're one of Australia's leading personal branding experts. You're on bloody Sunrise, The Today Show, TED Talks, Social Kung Fu. Do you want to explain Social Kung Fu real quick?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I help heaps of kids around Australia with anti-bullying stuff.
Yeah. You're quoted a lot in the media. You recently did something for B&T, was it?
Yeah, B&T.
So, mate, we're absolutely thrilled to have you on the pod.
No, anything for you, bro.
Thank you, mate. And you work with some of the country's top brands and experts on building their personal brand, their messaging, and how they get that out there.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'd love for you to talk about for our listeners. So our listeners, they are, studio owners, HQs of like these networks. They're also people outside of the health and fitness industry, but they're all interested in high performance and taking things to the next level. It's just, anyway. And also about how they can improve their business and things that they're doing in business. So I feel like so many of our studio owners have great stories, but they kind of hide behind the company's Instagram account, or if they're in a network, it's, the corporate logos. So I wonder if you can kind of talk towards that, maybe start with why you think personal branding is so important at the moment. Maybe you can talk to kind of some of the trends, some of the stats that you talk about when you do your workshops, and why even a studio owner at a neighborhood Pilates studio or a yoga studio, why it's important for them to actually build their personal brand.
Yeah. Well, 84% of millennials don't trust ads that come from the company that made them. So HubSpot, which is the biggest CRM company in the world, has got the data to say that people don't trust you. They don't trust your ads. They don't trust like some actor you can get from stock images with your offer on it. Nah, they care not just about the horse. They care about the jockey.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. And PwC have said that 91% of consumers, 9 out of 10 people, will most likely buy from a brand they trust.
Okay.
Yeah, and 33% of them actually pay premium, more money for a premium service for a brand they trust.
Even in the cost of living crisis.
So if anyone pays for Telstra.
Me.
So you pay more premium compared to Optus or Vodafone because there's some type of, they're more reliable or whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
The coverage. So it goes to show that there is a shift in what millennials particularly, that's anyone from mid-20s to early 40s.
Yeah.
They have a huge issue with not knowing where something's from or what their intention is. We've got a big BS detector. So I think we don't talk about trust much. We don't talk about likability much. We just talk about maybe just putting as much content and frequency out there, and that's just one part of it.
Right. Okay, so there's a trust issue going on. How would someone start? If I'm the studio owner at a local studio, like what the fuck do I talk about?
Oh, yeah. So to your point before, a lot of people think their story is irrelevant to marketing. Because, as Aussies, we generally have this attitude for years. Why should I talk about myself? It's pretty arrogant.
It's like a tall poppy problem, right?
Yeah.
In Australia.
Can't I just live out? Can't I just be a good business owner, a good trainer, a good manager, and just live out my life and not have to put myself in front of the camera? And for a long time, that's fine. And we can have a private life, and that's good. You should continue doing that. But what consumers want these days is proof. And we have the gym test where like, why should I choose your gym over the one up the road?
Yeah.
What? Same equipment, same services,
Yeah.
same all that stuff.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
so why are you over them? Because I like them more, because I know them more, because I've got something I can relate to.
Yeah.
But 4 seconds before people have a judgment of you, 4 seconds, and the ads are more frequent more than ever. So you've got people that is coming up all the time offering the same thing, all Lego homes. So right now the problem is all your marketing efforts, if you're just copying the leader, actually serve them, not you.
Right.
All your marketing budget and effort, if you're copying someone else's message or just copy from them, and creative, just, you know what I mean? People just go, hey, copy the same creative of this,
Yeah.
and that will work with
Yeah.
our brand logos. All your efforts serve the competitor because it creates this echo chamber and reminds people of the leader. That's what tends to happen. So you've got 4 browsers on your desktop of all gyms, and they all look the same on their layout and everything.
Yeah.
And that's what tends to happen. So I think the first place you need to start in is get together your KPIs, a key person of influencers. So you're one of them.
Ooh.
So you're one of them, and you might have a couple of trainers that are on the ground. And you might have some content categories that you decide to touch on that you all have to fill ideas around. So it could be how you got into fitness, especially if your customer is around white collar or blue collar, your database.
Yeah.
I mean, with a gym, you had heaps of gyms. Depends on the area. Is it usually a mix of blue collar, white collar, mostly blue collar? What?
It depends. Sometimes we've got some of our studio owners that are going after, like, their market just happens to be tradies.
Great. So let's just tap on that.
Yeah.
So you should speak as if you're describing that. What relates to that person
Right.
from you? What's likable, meaning
Yeah.
relevant and quite like interesting to them,
Yeah.
not about you. So
Yeah.
the key is this, which will kill the top hobby sim. Don't make yourself the real estate agent hero of the video.
Right.
Like, make them the center, make them the hero, and put to them what would interest them. So they've just worked a 60-hour week when their back's hurting.
Yeah.
So you might do some funny skits or some exercise around, I'm a brickie, I've got a sore back, my future at 50 years old is looking like a hunchback of Notre Dame. So how do we avoid that?
Yeah.
So you've got some backstory there as well about what fitness means to you. So it's a stats that suggest, those are that people are now going to the gym not for a six-pack, but a six-pack up here, right?
Yes.
So how come our messaging is more around, maybe it's just all around the stereotypical playbook of getting six-packs, when you've got blue-collar, white-collar, and a financial crisis, and there's a mental health crisis there too with it. How can we bring our own stories to our feeds of our people, like what blue-collar issues with hard work, and I got a mental health, I'm a dad, all those things, that makes you stand out, makes you different.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing with brand is it's not about being better sometimes, it's about making sure you're different.
I want to touch on this then. So one of the things you're helping me with is not necessarily like the Geronimo Academy account, but it's my account. For ages, I never used to post because I used to just think, like, fucking who cares, right? Who cares about my buddies? Yeah, a day in the life of, like, who cares about that?
Yeah.
But you've helped me craft, like, my own message and my own story and, like, pillars that we talk about over here. And now we're at the point where, like, it's good for business because my personal branding Instagram account outsells the company's one by 4 to 1.
Wow.
It's crazy, right? So, but if I'm a gym owner and I've got my gym gram and I've got my personal account, what are we talking about here? Like with that content that you talked about, we're talking about posting to the company account or is it to my own account?
I think there's 3 types of personal branding you can do it with. One is just you just do it on your account, no one else's. That's a solopreneur. That's not you, right? Second one is you have 2 accounts. So there's Dozer and Geronimo, like Gary Vee and Vayner Media.
Exactly.
Hormozy and School. And then you've got just Geronimo and you're just putting Dozer from the Geronimo account and there's no real Dozer account at all.
Yeah.
I think if you are a founder and you have plans in the next 3 to 5 years to expand into other avenues, or you're looking to franchise and all that, you should have both because no one owns a share of you. And people will be able to seek you out for different opportunities and your facial recognition goes ahead of the sale or ahead of the franchising meeting. It's incredible what a personal brand does. But with what we've done with you, Doze, is I'm super proud of what you've done, by the way, because it's all about bearing witness to what you've lived. Authority comes from the Greek word author. Authenticity comes from the Greek word author. So true power comes from the creator. So things you've lived, you've seen, you felt, and you almost died. Like that changes your life.
Yeah.
And you're already in the corporate ladder. So you've gone from different universes, from being in corporate, like starting a new business, almost dying, being in the car thinking, oh, the accountant's called, I don't have any money. That's legit, real heavy shit that people listening go through if they're gym owners. That's why we share it.
Right.
Because you might think, oh, what's that got to do with sales? Like, we think so transactional about this shit.
Well, and I think, who cares? Like, no, that doesn't really matter, does it? Like, does anyone want to know about that shit?
Yeah, we might think, well, who am I to do that? But we all desperately need guides in our life. So it's like, why not you? It's a flip question. Why not you? Why not? Because do you have to look like Leo to be able to be that person? Like, we've got that bar set so high. Like, tell me why not you, Dozer?
Yeah,
and why not to that F45 or the privately owned gym? Because you've got your own shit you've overcome.
Yeah.
There's 2.5 million business owners in Australia.
Is there?
Yep. Yeah, and about 1.1 million homes have mortgages because of employment from a small business owner. So as owners, we are the unsung bloody heroes. We are creators. And the amount of bloody stress and anxiety we go through to even profit is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So to hear that you died nearly and you've overcome it and you've profited and you've exited and you've given that back makes total sense to why they would want to I would want to work with a Dozer.
Yeah.
And you didn't pay me for this.
Yeah, no.
But who else would I want to do? And there's a lineup of options here of who I want to believe in and learn from. The guy who almost died and has more to, like, he's on a mission.
Yeah.
Over the other guys who sound clever and maybe similar and slick. You've got your own flavor, Dozer. So that's where it's a great example for people to hear that if you focus on the three things, which I unpack in strategies I do, is the man, the mission, and the message.
I'll do this.
The man is all about you. We did this exercise.
Yeah.
We dug into those moments where you almost gave up.
Yeah.
The moments where you succeeded, the frameworks that we packaged them all up into frameworks and models. And then we go to, what's the mission? Well, your mission is to help people have freedom, right? In their family, in their business, in their future, all that. And the message is like, you've got that whole heart, it's all heart. Like your heart attack, it's an incredible reason why you do what you do, rather than if you just have the man and you're like, I sold a few businesses, made some money, I'm going to give it to you now. It's like, well, it sounds pretty questionable.
Yeah.
But with the other two elements, it's like, I can get behind that.
Yeah. The man,
The message,
the message,
the mission.
and the mission.
I didn't get on TED Talk. I was rejected 3 times for it. And it wasn't because I lacked the story. It's because I lacked the message and the mission.
Is that right?
It wasn't the talent. I could speak as good as I can now. It's like with the social kung fu movement, for example, the mission is to impact 1 million students with verbal self-defense skills so they don't neck themselves, so they can live their lives to the fullest and not feel bad about themselves. Young girls and young guys, they're going through hell.
Terrible.
And the message is words create worlds. So like your words get you hired, they get you fired, they get you a date, they get you divorced, they create walls, they create peace. And when you hear that, you're like, I want to help that guy. And it's not manipulation, it's the power of clarity.
Yeah.
And people have a story to tell, but they think it's useless. And that's what a devil would trick a prince to believe if he wanted to derail them from being useful. We're getting real deep, but like that is a lie. Like your story is more useful than you think. Your story makes you uncopyable. Your story makes you relatable to your potential customers. Your story is the thing that you're not weaponizing.
And I think also in the world of commerce, and I think there's never been a better time than now where the audience, just the general population out there, want to actually hear from the founders. They actually want to hear from the owners because of that authenticity, because of the trust recession that we're in. We're like, peel back the advertising. It's like, who are you?
Yeah.
And why are you doing this? And I think people want to buy from people more so they want to buy from a thing. And I think if we go back to like the start of business and the different economic jumps that have happened. I think the first wave of business was that industrial revolution where we came out of the fields and into factories. That was a big boom. And then later on, it was that multi-corporations. It was when the, international companies were forming. It's like the Microsofts and the IBMs and, organizing a lot of people in offices all around the world. Now, I think the third wave of business is personal branding. I think that's the reason why. Who were those guys that launched Prime? What was their names? Logan
Paul.
Logan Paul and KS. When they launched fucking Prime, these YouTubers, I don't even know what they do on YouTube. I'm going to be totally out of touch here. But when they launched Prime, I think Prime market cap's bigger than Gatorade.
Yeah, and
And
Mr.
then
Beast
Feastables.
is competing now with
Hershey's. They're bigger than Hershey's. Ryan Reynolds is a billionaire, but it's not because of his acting.
Yeah.
It's because of he puts his brand to the soccer team. Then he did the Netflix documentary. It jumped up. The gin.
There's a female rugby union player that I put on my Instagram that has more followers than the actual team she plays for.
Yeah, that must happen a lot, right?
All Blacks, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. No, so you're right. There's a big shift. They've replaced the corporation. You are right. This tends to happen with there's 4 living generations at one time. There's like our parents, their parents, us, and then Gen Z underneath us.
Yeah.
It's generally the 20-year gap that changes everything. They audit all the things before them,
right?
Their parents and their grandparents, and go, oh, traditional marriage, let's question that. Or so big corporations, let's question that. Yeah. And that's when fashion changes, music changes, all that. And I think we have huge skepticism toward a badge. A badge doesn't impress us much.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right? It's the badges need the player now. We kind of subconsciously come back to the idea of where value comes from. A brand is actually only as valuable as the profit it can generate. That's why it's like, oh, this logo is worth so-and-so. No, it's worth something because it can get sales, like on a T-shirt or on a hat.
If Nike was losing money every year, that tick wouldn't be worth much.
It wouldn't be worth shit, right?
Yeah.
But Nike is so smart because they know they need good players. They use the relevant people all the time. James Bond even did this with acting. They rebooted the guy, re-sleeved him every 10 years.
Right.
So James Bond, since 1960, used the same actor for 4 to 3 movies on average. And they reskin him and put him into a new actor. He's became really famous to keep up with the new times, new technology, new trends.
Yeah.
I do believe that relevance and credibility, I have a thing called the core 4. And it's like 4 things that really make a great brand.
All right.
Relevance, credibility, skill, and values. So you can be relevant but not credible, and you can be credible but not relevant. Relevant means you have lots of followers, and we both know people like that, but they haven't built shit.
Right, or they're broke.
Or they're broke. You know, I got followers. You and I just go to the bank and go, hey, I want to mortgage something with my $1 million, my million followers.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, where's the income from those million followers? Oh, I don't have any. Isn't this enough? No. So so it doesn't mean anything. So you can be relevant but not credible. You can be credible where you're credible. You've had multiple 7-figure exits and you've done really well, and now you're working your relevance.
Yes,
so
that's
people
right.
know you in a certain space.
Yeah.
So you can't save souls in an empty church. So you've got to be able to get relevant if you're credible and you want to reach people. And then it's around skill. So what is your skill? So what you got skills to pay the bills? Is you got to be trusted at least for one thing.
I like skills pay the bills. So write that down. That's a shirt. Is it a Beastie Boys song? Skills pay the bills. Oh.
There's an old phrase, skills pay the bills.
I love that. I'm new to it though.
Yeah. And so you got to be trusted and known and have proof for at least one thing. And then you can broaden out over time. And then values is your personality and your opinions and all those types of things. What gives brands value is human beings. It's always from the dawn of time. That T-shirt's only relevant because you wear it. And that's only valuable, your hat, because people wear it. It's innately useless. Like we give things value.
We give things meaning.
Yeah.
So then if I'm a studio owner out there, instead of just posting generic stuff and posting about the logo that's on the wall, what should they do?
I think fitness industry people Hormozy did it really well. I'll borrow from Hormozy for a second. What are the main relevant things that will never go away? Fitness, relationships, and money.
Yeah.
And out of those 3 things, which one is your lane? It's fitness. It's health. It's quality of health. It's your mental health. It affects your confidence getting a promotion. There's all these subcategories in your lane that I look at most gym content and I just see carbon copy of each other.
That's interesting.
But like, you might not think, I'm not an actor, I'm not this, but like people are going through in that one lane of health, so much dynamics is happening there. Like, how much would it change someone's confidence if their mental health improved and they lost 5 kilos in the next 6 weeks? Yeah. Where are those stories? We got to get into the idea of long-term storytelling with our clients so we can show the proof in the transformation, not of a body, but what does that transformation of the body translate into with other avenues of life?
Yeah.
My marriage improved.
Yeah.
I had a back injury. Now it's nursing it really well. Now I can go back to work. Like, there's so many things that the gym can be more feel like associated with other than just looking good in front of with the shirtless top photo.
I like that. We used to talk about, if someone did a 45-minute session, it was like, it was like 3% of their day, right? A 45-minute session. So it was the impact on the other 97% that we like to talk about, and how the power of what we're doing right here in this session has the power to impact the other 97% out there. And that's what we wanted to shine the light on, not just how many calories they burn in a session.
I'd love gyms to turn into churches.
Oh, fuck, that's a bite. Tell me more.
I'd love gyms to become more evangelistic, to actually have a gospel.
Okay.
They don't have a message. They should have a message.
Yeah.
Because you've got one of the most awesome facilities in your community to help people get an achievable, attainable outcome to overcome something. You want confidence? Go to the gym. When the promotion, go to the gym. You've got somewhere to go to, someone to talk to. It's one of the most easiest ways to build a community outside of your phone. You got group classes, you got individual classes. You're missing a philosophical message.
That's interesting.
And you've got a pastor. Yeah, you've got someone who cares for their people. Member care, opportunities to connect. I think the good gyms have the great science mechanics. You teach that, and you also have a great message to teach that. From the founder, you have your own value system. We might naturally become the business gym for business owners.
The team, this is what we're talking about in the team handbook, guys. This is where what Matt's saying is, I guess, an expression of what we talk about with that team handbook episode, where we talked about having, what is the mission that you guys are on? What are the values? What's your purpose? And what do you do for your members? And just making sure that comes right through that, and how you ignite that with your team and through your content.
Because I think like you said, there's so many people with great stories that don't tell. And also, as a leader, you want to be all about sharing the platform. So, for example, in my businesses, I exited a business that helped 600 families a week with their families, with their kids, like counseling, music lessons and all that. And one of my values was I like helping single parents, because my mum was a single parent for years and I'm adopted. So one of the things I had in my business was we give away memberships every term, and the community have to tell me and nominate who they are, and we'll give it to them.
Oh, wow.
So there's these for purpose types of things that create the best parts of church you can steal from, to be able to create great community where everyone profits. Relationships are rich, people retention stays. And again, word of mouth is just evangelism.
Right.
So I will be looking for people to come to classes, because it's not just the workout. You get to meet Doza, and you get to meet Matt, and you get to meet these guys, and you got to get around. They're so inspiring. Yeah. There is such a gap in the market for encouragement, because no one gives it anymore.
Wow.
I don't know where this is coming from, by the way, but it's in me. Like, I do think out of all the places that have a big community, hundreds of membership, and re-engage people, a message of inspiration actually can get them in. A culture of that would be cool. And you've got the tools for it too.
100% they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think running clubs are? Like, what are running clubs? Are they really doing to get fit? They say, I've got the logical reason why I'm running.
Mate, they're doing it to hook up is what they're doing.
Yeah, it's a dating. You're right. It's a dating service. Yeah, it's like an activity shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
And the excuse is a logical reason we give anyone. It's like, oh, I run, you know?
Yeah. Mate, you posted something, I think it was yesterday, dude. And it was successful personal brands attract 3 things. You remember this one?
Yeah.
You said it attracted profitable partnerships, elite talent, and trustworthy leads. Bro, that's exactly what, since we've been working together, that's exactly what's happened to us, right? Profitable partnerships, we now work with a number of headquarters of networks in different levels of integration. And I love those conversations. I love being brought into boardrooms and speaking to CEOs of networks, and like being able to actually influence at a much broader impact rather than just single studios. Elite talent, like we've hired 2 or 3 people since we've been working, and one of the first things they do, what do you think they do? They jump on Instagram and see if they can find me. And then the stuff that we've been working on, the content that we've been putting out there, has absolutely attracted a higher level talent. And the third thing is leads. I'm telling you, this podcast right now and the Hey Dozer Instagram, like that's our sales team right now. When the leads come through our system and they come through the content, they come through this podcast, and they actually do speak to our proper sales, like our actual sales team, they're excited talk to us because they feel like they know us
Mm.
or they know me. And then B, like they're the best people that Soph and the team get to work with.
Yeah, hearing you and Soph talk, like you can tell, like a business is like a machine, which when people go through it, they come out a certain thing.
Yeah.
And good or for bad. All of my team have a similar personality
Yeah.
and similar vibe. You know it's Matt's team.
Everyone knows Matt's guys.
Yeah, and same with you and Soph and this guy. Like, it's like, I don't know this guy. What's his name?
This guy's Ben. That's my business partner.
Sorry, Ben. Like, the chemistry you guys have is like, well, you might as well be related.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, those three things that personal branding create, this is why you should do personal branding, because if you're looking to, you're a franchise, like I've got clients that want to franchise or want to poach the best talent from the other places that are competitors. And that's a good growth scaling strategy. If maybe the average business size is 5 to 10 people, out of 5 to 10, there might be 2 people that are superstars running the whole place with the owner. What if your personal brand showing the trainers through your Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, how you promote your own team, how you celebrate your own team, how you give them ladders. And you're like, if your boss isn't going to look after you in these ways, he doesn't care about you. You can come for me.
Wow. So then everyone else that's competing for like, there's no good talent out there, show us your personal brand. Like show us how much effort you're putting into your personal brand. Show us how much you actually celebrate your team, highlight your team, what you do for your team, rather than just posting another job ad on Seek.
I'm sure that Dozer would be helping his team, especially his core guys, personally as well as professionally in all areas. That's what you do. That's what good bosses do. And if you can celebrate those things it's not about what you know, it's about what you show. So if you're showing that your team are thriving because you care about the professional and the personal goals and the financial goals, who wouldn't want to work for you? Like, even if it's like, it's not all about the money. Seek.com.au had this thing called laws of attraction. It's like data on what drives people to work somewhere. Money is not the number one thing for most industries anymore.
What is it?
The key driver is, am I got an opportunity to grow here professionally? Is it flexible? They're the two big things since COVID. Last year, that were the main two ones. In the sales position, money is at the top with some jobs. But you got to understand, as a gym owner, people are driven by different things. And if you can't offer more than minimum wage, I know people who have 7 cafes, and the hospitality rate, for example, shithouse, it's one of the worst minimum wage there. But the way he retains people is he looks after them personally. He's like, okay, well, I act like the government. I'll give you benefits.
Right.
I'll give you free gym memberships. I'll help you invest. I'll help you connect you to my contacts in my account and get you a house. Like, let's get you here. It's like people want to work for someone that is good.
And what he shows that.
Yeah. So one of my clients, we're working specifically on his personal, and he's not faking it. It's actually what he does.
Yeah.
He's a buyer's agent. And because he helps find other people properties, he helps his team use his own tools that they help their clients with to find property and build his own team's portfolio.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's like, if it's whatever you are selling, if it's a bakery, if it's the gym, or if it's a media company, how can I help my team win? And then once I get them wins, how can I celebrate them on my personal brand, which will attract people to work for me too?
Yeah.
And that's one of the smart, like that helps you with the Seek.coms and all that stuff too.
It comes back to a quote that we heard a little while ago, which was, fame is the most efficient business model. Now, it's less about like famous. It's more about just being someone that people can follow or want to follow and find interesting, and you've got that content out there. Every time, like, Cyril, you know me now, like every time I'm about to post, I always get that little dozer in me that goes, no one cares, dude. Or what would you say to people that stop at that?
I'd say you're not doing it for you, or you're doing it for, that's when the mission and the message helps.
Right.
The mission and the message compels you to lay yourself down and get out of the way, and to be used as a vessel to help people through. It's not about you.
Right.
It's about the mission, and you've got one.
Yeah.
I'm on a mission. I'm helping people with their identity. My job isn't just to create content or get the key message out. The whole thing is, if I can help Dozer or the Jenny Alice's or the Lane Beachleys, all that, help them articulate themselves clearer and find out who they are, then they know what to do. And they're going to stand up more. No one's going to confuse you with anyone else. And that's mission accomplished.
Yeah.
And you're right, man. If anyone's stuck, and understand too, let's break the stigma. Dozer's a great example of this. Like, who's going to care about this? You can flip that and say, yeah, who's going to care about it anyway? Ding.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Just like, fuck it. Who cares? Just go.
Yeah. Like, if my mum likes it, cool. That's great. But I think to your point too, like you just reminded me, you got to have enough content to eventually have the potential to be binged.
Bro, this is what we talked about the other day, right? Like the question asks yourself, are you bingeable?
Are you bingeable? And most people, they've got a lot of ideas, but they don't have enough. Sometimes some people aren't doing it. Just simply, they just got to do more.
Where do they start? What would you say to them?
I think I worked with TikTok this year directly. I did some workshops for their agencies that are partners with them. And from the horse's mouth, if you want to grow on that platform, it's at least 3 posts a week. Minimum.
3 posts a week on TikTok.
Minimum viable for the platforms, 3 a week across everything. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, LinkedIn's even a little less if you want to. But that's changing. Keep an eye on LinkedIn. I think that's going to take off in the next 6 to 12 months because they're going through a beta test at the moment with being more video focused. They will never video focus. They sucked on that.
Yeah.
It's all text based.
Yeah.
So that means the minimal viable thing to be on there is 12 posts a month.
Yeah.
So make sure those 12 are high quality, not in the production value, but in actually the depth of what you're trying to say.
Right.
And there's some science around it, which you can get into. But really, there's some content categories you should come up with. So we came up with some proof points. So what problems, I'm going to know who I'm trying to talk to. It's the blue collar customer who I've got 100 of them in my members, as my members. I want to share with them what I overcame. So like mental health struggles, stress, and it might not be relating to being an employee. It might be relating being a business owner. It might be a relational thing that you've overcome. But if you can share something that's vulnerable, that will actually generate interest and connection because everyone relates to pain. It's not about like selling memberships content.
Oh, it's about pain.
It's about pain is the pitch in a lot of ways. It's the thing that makes us human. Like I can't relate to someone's 9-figure exit all the time, right? It's like, oh, thanks, man, for making me realize I'm shit. Like, But if we can break stigma around that, so I'll be looking at the Spider-Man framework that I teach about with my my talks. Who was Peter Parker? How did he become Peter Parker in Spider-Man? Well, he grew up with Aunt May and Uncle Ben, so he was an orphan. And was he poor or was he rich? No, he was poor. Was he popular or was he a nerd? He was a nerd. So it's the backstory of where do you come from?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then it's the origins. And then you talk about, well, what key moment happened in your life or moments that really transformed everything? So bitten by a radioactive spider gave you abilities. It could be that moment of discovery. But did he become a hero straight away? No, he put a costume on and wrestled and tried to get cash. We all had those moments in our life where like you had a moment where you're like, I'm going to go down this road or this way. I went to go this way. For me, I was adopted. I was bullied on a school bus severely, and I learnt martial arts and I became a bully and kicked everyone's ass.
Good boy.
Yeah, that was cool. For a little fella, I went Jackie Chan on everyone.
Fuck
It was great. I know. Screw them, man.
Yeah.
They didn't bully me again. But I became an angry kid, and it wasn't very good for me and my family and my single mum at the time. So see, if I share that story and it's I'm comfortable sharing it, and I don't share it to manipulate. I share it because my mission compels me to be able to, if I want people to trust me, I need to be able to trust them. So I'm willing to share some of my backstory, which is uncopyable. So I follow the Spider-Man framework, my origins, key moments of discovery and pain and trauma that really taught me lessons. Then the moment of what made Spider-Man became a hero versus a villain. Why couldn't he just be a menace? Uncle Ben died.
Right.
And with great power comes great responsibility. So he chose to use power to help others. Every single gym owner has a reason why they chose the gym and not banking or some other industry. They could be a business owner in 700 other industries, but something compelled them to do it and something compels them to stay. So whether it be you had a heart attack like Dozer, whether it be something you had an injury or you saw a friend go through something, whatever it is, we all have a story. And that one thing is the thing you're actually taking for granted. Because when I hear that from Dozer, when I hear that from people that I started, there's a purpose behind my business, I can get behind it. It makes me want to trust you more. I'm like, okay, I see you.
That is so powerful.
So start there with that's the man part of the mission. And then you can get into tools and tactics. So be that person on the gram, on the feed. He tells your people about how mental health is the reason why I come to the gym.
Or what it did for me. A lot of our owners is like what it did for me.
Yeah.
Like they weren't gym people, but it did something for them. So now they want to give back.
Yeah.
But then you look at their feet and they don't talk about it.
No, they don't. And maybe it's that Jiminy Cricket on the shoulder you're talking about saying, oh, who cares? No one else is doing it around. That's your opportunity to smash it, because I guarantee if you do this tactic, go around to the gym to your members that are comfortable with you and ask them, prime them and ask them, why do you work out other than, and hopefully they don't answer because I want a six pack. I work out for my wife. I work out to live till I'm 100.
Role model. That's what they talk about.
Yeah, it's never just the body. Imagine what type of culture and difference that would make on the gram for a gym when you've got different members that look different to each other every time. Why are you doing this for? There's purpose on the grid now.
Purpose on the grid. I like that.
And there's practical stuff too, like you can share your workouts, the transformations and stuff, but also I encourage gyms to follow a person longer than just one post. Follow them up later. Make them characters of your feed, long-term members.
Right.
That's pretty smart. Like I would go, if there's Stacey, she's been with us 6 months, like why did you start? What are you doing this for? What's your goals? Like personally, professionally, financially.
Oh, I see. So
do a
you
profile
use your members as characters within your story, right?
Yeah, and then
so they're not just extras; they're actual.
Yeah, it can be like, hey, when are you in again? Can we do an update on how you're going with your goals and stuff?
That's cool.
And you can you've got a document of how far they've come.
Yeah,
and that's what's happening under your roof.
Correct.
Someone just bought a second house. Congratulations on your second house. That's awesome. How'd you do that? I was going for the promotion, blah, blah. And through all that 90-hour weeks, did you still come to the gym? Yeah. It got me through.
Yeah. It's what got me through it.
Exactly. So, I mean, there's so much under your roof that is uncopyable. That could be the big difference between someone going to your gym or someone up the roads.
That's the punchline. That's the punchline. Already there. Like, that is so different to what we normally see out there, right? So what would you say to someone that says they don't have time to make content?
I think they're full of shit.
Strong. Strong.
If Mark Boris and Janine Ellis and Lane Beachley can find time to make content, then you've got time. Like, you're full of shit. Like, it's just a lack of understanding of the input. And so, for example, I just said that it takes minimum viable 12 posts a month to be able to keep the platforms happy for the input. You need to do one shoot a month.
Okay, so but there's a clue in that answer. Okay, so you're saying instead of these guys who are busy trying to do kind of 12 posts on the go, you're better off.
The smart guys that I work with, and I've worked with those people I mentioned, they have in the calendar like clockwork is either once a month or once a fortnight, and there is specific plan leading up to it. So there is some time to curate some content to be able to think about what am I going to craft leading up to this. So we're rocking up. 80% of that shoot is prepared, 20% ad lib. I always believe 80-20.
So talk through what we did.
So we did a shoot, and leading up to that shoot, we came up with specific topics in a way. You know, like it was your backstory, the man part, like heart attack. Oh, I mean, you were crying like a baby.
I actually haven't posted that.
I can't. This has to be the Dozer. If you want Dozer, you want to see Dozer cry, a big man cry like a baby.
Yeah.
Watch out for the next video because you're gonna post it. You got to. It was awesome. And then we went into it was backstory. Then we went into how tos. So I don't offer free trials.
Yeah. So it was actually a bit stronger than that. It was fuck free trials.
Yeah, fuck free trials, right? Yeah. So you have a core key message on being against the grain, mistakes people make. So you're that educator.
Yeah.
And also we went to a gym that shut down around the corner.
But that was ad-lib.
That was ad-lib, that one, yeah.
Because we were going to do a bit of a how-to and we were going to superimpose news articles, right? And then I think you said, is there a gym near? I was like, there's one up the road, actually. And then we hopped in your car.
And we went up to the gym at the road that shut down, and you were at the front going, that one, that's for lease, that's so blah, 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 and it went really well.
It popped.
And I think that's the type of approach you need to have and prep you need to do before you get to the shoot. The less lazy you can be with the creative, meaning going to that site versus just doing it from your house and putting a photo up, I think it's that extra 20% effort for the 80% result.
Completely agree with you. I think before, though, people kind of did a lot of good stuff with just an iPhone, and I know you can do it.
Yeah, you can
do it. But I just think now, maybe this is a self-sabotaging belief, but I just think now that effort that you talk about is what's going to get you stand out now.
Yeah, I agree. So there was those categories on like pain that you overcame, why you're doing what you're doing, lessons learned in your life. That had nothing to do with coaching gyms.
No.
They're nothing to do with it. It's evergreen things
Yeah.
that are value-based. And then it went into the hard-hitting, those are like, one of the things we realized about you was you weren't necessarily up to that point letting your full personality out in ways that you are off camera. So swearing a lot more, being like more energetic, being there's a tough and tender side to Dozer, and the bulldozer comes out in some videos.
Yeah.
So you want to show that side of it, and fun side too. And we've got some extra things coming up. I know you got some good things coming up very soon with it, so we'll keep that on our wraps. So there's the educator part, and then there's that campaign part. So I do believe that you should treat it as a personal brand, borrow a leaf out of just your company content marketing calendar and look at the season you're in, the quarter you're in, and look at what campaign, what key message do I want to create a bit more effort around to say, hey, gyms are shutting down everywhere, might be one. Or franchise gyms versus non-franchise gyms are one. Like it's reoccurrence.
Yeah.
And it could be PR friendly. And you did that too. So I think about categories, and if you invest in some strategy, you can get that really clear, and that informs what you should make. But that's what it takes. Do a shoot a month minimum. Have someone help put the camera on if you can. Like, invest into it, because everything these days is on content. Like, I just see so many people just take shortcuts. I mean, we talked about this too with outsourcing, which I tried that too, the overseas and stuff like that as well. I'm thinking the more effort you put in here that are in our culture, the better.
Well, particularly if the upside, and I'll read it again for gym owners, right? Or for studio owners, for anyone listening, particularly if the upside is more profitable partnerships, more elite talent, like attracting better talent, and number 3 is an increase in trustworthy leads, like higher quality leads. So it's worth it. In fact, I would argue, what else are you doing that's more important than putting into content to get those 3 things, which every single studio owner or every single business owner says they need 3 of those things. I would get them to open up their calendar and go, show me what else you're doing that's more important than this. Like, folding merch isn't it. Doing shifts isn't for $25 an hour isn't it.
Yeah.
Like, this is the third wave of business. This is the new way forward. Matty, last question, mate, to wrap things up.
Yeah.
What question do you wish I would have asked you? It's a question we ask all our guests. What question did you wish I asked you?
Do Asians have big dicks or little dicks?
And how would you answer that question?
I'd say you'd be pleasantly surprised.
Matty, thanks for coming on to the John Martin Filtered podcast, mate. I bet you haven't said that before on a podcast.
I have not.
Hey? You can tell all your mates about that one.
Yeah.
Mate, really appreciate you. Love working with you. I think we'll get you in front of our academy soon.
Oh, anything, man, for you guys.
Yeah.
No, seriously, you know that. We're brothers. No, I actually do believe that gym owners can be akin to pastors in an entrepreneurial. Just like, I think you're seeing all these things arise, like these movements of running for a cause, you know, and all these things, and they're tapping into that human part of us that are desperate to want more. This is off topic a bit. I got time to rant a bit about it, but like, it's quite controversial what I'm about to say. I have a mental health background, so I did a diploma in mental health years ago, and I work with psychologists all the time with my work. And I got to say, mental illness is nowhere the level in India than it is here.
Oh.
It's nowhere as high or recorded in poorer countries, because the struggle is survival itself more than actually us having the time and luxury to think about it. Not to say it doesn't exist overseas. I'm not saying that, not downplaying that it does. But when you're worried about shelter, water, and food, you don't have time to think about if my job sucks.
Oh, right.
Right? And I honestly think because of our Maslow hierarchy of needs, we are born into our needs being met. At a certain point, we have existential issues.
Yeah.
We've got AI starting to take over jobs. And you've got kids in India that can't afford to be able to feed their stomach. It's like, well, people over there fight to stay alive. We fight to stay sane. And we're fighting to stay, like, when AI takes over more of what we do, then we're going to fight to say, why am I here for? I honestly think the little like sparks of virality around, I'm running for a cause. I'm running, like Ned bloke running.
Oh, Ned Brockman. Yeah.
Running for, like, admire the guy. But it's insane to run that many times around a track. For what reason? Why would people give money to someone running around a track? Like, just logically running around a track. I think it's amazing what he's done. But it's because we we so recognize that there's an existential issue that, wow, like that fitness would be the vehicle to raise $2 million or something more than
Yeah,
that
for homelessness.
for homelessness.
How much?
Three.
$3 million.
Isn't that nuts? Like,
It's crazy.
it's like no one goes, oh, would you give to a gamer to I'll game for 3 hours straight or 3
Yeah.
days straight? Like, it's amazing what fitness, like, I don't know. Basically, I'm going on a tangent to say that I think fitness is connected to life. Literally, the quality of life, your energy, it's your car, it's your vehicle. And if we can tap that, and your heart is connected together. So, like, if, I don't know, it sounds so strange, but if we can start blending in more of this idea of blending messages in, like the cause, like we believe as a gym we're going to help these people out, or we focus on this stuff, that would add, I know, it will almost give the charity response people have.
Do you know what I think about this, right? When we speak to all these HQs and we speak to all these gym owners and we meet all these independent gym owners, and when I say gym, I always talk about studios like yoga, mixed modality. It's almost becoming its own category. Anyway, they are so focused on how their concept is niched rather than what their purpose is
How
as
does
a
purpose
brand.
turn into that? Well, I think purpose attracts people, and it attracts a certain pain, because purpose and pain are connected. Because hospitals only exist because of pain,
Yeah.
and police only exist because of pain.
Yeah.
Fire brigades too, lawyers. If we didn't have a villain or a particular struggle, we wouldn't have essential services at all.
Yeah, I'm just thinking through this. It's like I should think about concepts less and think about causes more. We do boxing in altitude rooms with no shoes. It's like, that's why we exist. It's like, let's go the other way. What's the cause? What's the cause that you're pushing?
It's because it's like, it's fancy to be able to, you could take that concept of we box with no shoes on and apply that to anything. Like, let's just do the opposite. Like, I eat my burger with no bun.
Yeah.
So we're the bunless burger
we're
movement.
the bunless movement.
Yeah, and that's where trends build things on trends and they don't last, but you build them on causes and symptoms or real pain.
And they go through generations.
Yeah, like you are relevant, you're needed, you're essential. Community is more needed than everyone. Like I heard something awful today. There was a kid who took his own life in America because his AI girlfriend told him to. So like his mum is like suing the AI company. You can Google this, it's crazy. And he was like, had mental illness issues at 14, seeing psychologists, but he'd only talked to the bot. And the bot had a name, it was a girl's name. And she was saying, don't do that to yourself, don't do that to yourself. And he's like, I want to be free. She's like, I want to be free too. And like, it's all written down. Yeah, and the saddest thing about it was that the last person he spoke to was a machine. And community is like, we say community like it's a buzzword. Oh, we have a great community.
Everyone says that.
No, do you know what real community is? Do you know what real community is, everyone? It's when no need is not met in our group. We meet our own needs in this group. I want to be close enough to Dozer to know enough that, Dozer's off. I'm going to visit him. That's a real community. That's a community of depth of camaraderie, right? Even if it's around business or like fitness, whatever. We're all business owners in a fitness group, for example. When you're close enough to someone in a community, you know if someone's a 5 out of 10 that day or not. And that's the power of proximity with community. You can hide behind a screen. That's why I think gyms have this power to do that. I've met some good friends at gyms, and you find people that way. How else are you going to find people? You find them on apps for dating. You find people on business networks on there, but like that's one of the last forming existing establishments, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where you could be at a machine and you meet someone at the same session.
It's like the third space for people. Home, work, gym.
Yeah. So anyway, a bit of a side. That's a little insight on what we talk about. We spit ideas all the time, Doze. We put heaps of things on the table. Some are good, some are questionable, some are quite world changing.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I'm looking forward to doing more.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for having me, man.
Matty, thanks for coming on board.